political godfather. Bola Tinubu was yesterday sworn in as the 5th democratically elected president since Nigeria's return to democracy in 1999 and the 16th president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We want to look at that journey, how his political journey in particular, how it started and where he is now. Remember, he once said he has made others king and it is now time for him to be a king. And true to that, he is now a king. President Bola Tinubu has also asked Nigerians not to pity him over the enormous task of nation building before him. He said he was well aware of the task he set out for and do not expect pity from Nigerians. And the last topic, former President Muhammadu Buhari has apologized to Nigerians for what he calls the temporary pains and sufferings some of his measures to reform the economy caused them. You are welcome once again. These are the issues we are taking a look at on today's edition of this program. And let me also wish the new president, particularly on this program, a successful tenure. Now let me welcome Smollett Adeto Isheshitola into the Newsroom. You are welcome.
Thank you very much, and happy inauguration that we had yesterday.
Oladayo Oladipeku is also in the newsroom today, not behind the scene. You are welcome, Dayo.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to be in the newsroom.
Delamuma.
Yeah.
There is this saying in Yoruba land that kingmakers don't become kings.
Yeah.
But in this instance, somebody said, call himself a kingmaker. And here we are, he's a king.
Yeah, there are two. The firmaments are different. The traditional firmament and the political firmament. The average person who is a politician someday can see himself becoming the governor or the president or the head of state, as the case may be. But in the Yoruba tradition, kingmakers are not members of the royal family. They are kingmakers. So they are a body who has a responsibility of looking in those days together with the direction of Ifa. But these days, usually there is no more Ifa influence. So they are the ones who will now shape the entire community and say, this is the king. So they could not be king. If you want to be king, you must belong to one of the royal families.
Except you are there is traditional coup.
Oh yes, 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 which happens too.
Okay.
So there are two different, as I said. It's a political firmament. The other is the traditional firmament. They have their cultures. The two ends have their cultures.
Dayo, I have made others king. It is time to be the king. And he also said his lifetime's achievement was to be Nigeria's president. And here we are. This has been fulfilled.
Well, no doubt about it that as Wajiba Tinubu has always been a political kingmaker. Don't let us doubt that. And look at what he did in Lagos. Successfully, you will see that has been since he left office as governor. He has succeeded in installing governors in Lagos.
Not only in Lagos.
Well,
not only in Lagos.
I'm only trying to take it from from Lagos angle. I'm trying to take it from Lagos angle, and
the entire southwest.
And you see that
the former southwest, or the entire southwest, even including Edo.
I was good to Edo. That when Oshiomhole lost in court, Asiwaju came to his rescue. In Ondo State, Olusegun Mimiko was there for him, and we can keep on mentioning. And in fact, in Osun, the Adegboshola, there's no doubt that the fact that he was instrumental in installing, and like that, And when you look at the national Oyetola, then so when you broader outlook down, you will see that he has participated actively in installing leaders, either as when it was the AC, the AD, the ACN, the partnership between political parties that came to later become APC. And you also recall that the former president participated on three occasions and was never a president until there was this partnership between the APC, the then ACN,
NPP,
part of ABGA, part of the new PDP, and of course Congress for Buhari. You now say that he has no doubt he was a kingmaker. He now said a Melokan. It means as a king, as a kingmaker, he also wants to be a king, and he did.
Okay, now let's look at because we are talking about his influence cutting across the southwest and even beyond
the southwest.
Let's look at his inaugural speech. You can easily conclude that this administration will uphold human rights. Yeah. And let me see if I can quote him. We'll reach out to her, but never put down a single person for holding views contrary to our own. Do you see this just as sweet talk? Will he be able to sustain and maintain this?
Yes, the Bola Tinubu we have read of, because we don't know him at close level. We have read about him, we have known him as a Nigerian, a journalist who practiced in Nigeria. Known him. Bola, the president, is a very committed Democrat. He's a very committed Democrat. And so, if you are committed or a committed Democrat, you must you must walk your talk. All through his 8 years in Lagos, you could see he is a tough guy, yes, but he's democratically oriented. So I think he is saying his mind, and that is what he will do. But he's a tough guy. And I have always known that among the 4, 5, or in fact the 18 politicians who came forward to contest in the February election, I've always known him as the man to beat. I've always known him as the man who can shake the table violently when it comes to political engagements. He's a man who can look at whether the cabal, whether the Kaduna Mafia of old, he can look at them eyeball to eyeball and find out who would blink first. He has the character, he has the wherewithal, he has the ability, and now he has the opportunity to do that.
Okay, Dio, my view does not render me any more Nigerian than my opponents, nor does it render them any less patriotic. It's like appealing, or do I say
the only branch?
Only branch, yes, that was what I was looking for. To his opponents. You see, he maintained that without prejudice to the cases in court, that is still
Bola Tinubu as a peer-minded person. I've had cause to cover the Executive Council of Lagos State when I was in Lagos, and there's one thing he will always tell his ESCO members: if you have a superior argument, he will take it. As the governor, as the chairman of that Executive Council of that Lagos, he doesn't impose issues on the ESCO members, which they also told us whenever we were covering after this. So he's somebody that one expects that he should walk his talk like, well, he's already a leader. Moderator, there's not that he's already a leader. He's no longer a sectional leader. And if the unity of this country, if you be very serious about the unity of this country, that kind of statement must come out from him and must walk the talk, irrespective of whatever the opponent will be saying about him. And like I said, don't forget, he's already the president and number one citizen of Nigeria. And so this sentiment of this sectional thing should, you see, IBB, General Yakubu Gowon, Jonathan, and I've forgotten that, and they told it's a very serious advice. Mr. President, you must unify this country. There's no longer, you are no longer an Hausa person, a Yoruba of Fulani, but an individual of Nigeria and the city of Nigeria, for that matter.
He also said in the same line, they represent the pro-contestant. They represent important constituencies.
Good.
And concerns. Good. That wisdom dare not ignore.
Good.
Good.
I extend my hand across the political divides. All I see are Nigerians, not members of APC or PPP or Labour Party.
I watched him say those words yesterday, and when it came to the question of all I see, there was a demonstration. You see, that is leadership, and that is also the fact that he knows that he is not the only Nigerian. He's not the wisest of all. You see, in life, when you the greatness in some people, it doesn't make you less great
or weak.
So he has seen the need, and he, as you quoted, they occupy what important.
They represent important constituencies, and of course,
is it Kano you will talk about,
and concerns that wisdom they are not ignored.
Yes, if your wisdom ignores that, you do so at your own peril. Is it Kokwanso, who has been two-time governor, and minister of defense of all places? Is it the Waziri of Adamawa, who virtually had the presidency in his hands and just let go for one or two mistakes? Is it the Obi man
and the obedient
who has one of the most vociferous support base in the country today?
Really, the Nigerian youth.
When you throw that away, he said it, wisdom will not permit you to ignore them. If you ignore them, you have done so at your own peril. So I can see the sum total of all this is that we are likely to have a good president, and so a good and effective presidency. I tell you, I must add this, moderator. In 4 years, he should be able to demonstrate that. Before he came to office, BAT, as his acronym is, so we can now say PBAT, has been amongst all the leaders the most, the one politician who had contributed to the deepening of democracy in this country in the last 25 years.
Even at the risk of his life.
More than any living Nigerian. He has done it. The records are there for. Is it his Nadeko exploits? Is it his championing the cause of when Obasanjo ran the Southwest and almost pushed all the governors into the lake or into the lagoon in Lagos? He became the only man standing, and he went one after the other and got support base. Is it that he had to sell some of his property to make sure that Nadeko lived? Is it the fight against oppression? Look at what he has done. This man forgot to add that Ladoja came back to his governorship because of this man. So in terms of contribution, he is the man who invited Waziri to come and become a presidential candidate. He invited Ribadu to become presidential candidate when they didn't have anywhere to go. That is a man who...
They belong to the same PDM, the political group of late Shehu Mogara. Yeah. Okay, now, since 2003, if I'm not mistaken, that he left office as the governor of Lagos State, he has not vied or contested for any political office. And he continued to be relevant.
Yes.
Without being, that was a time when Ambody was even the governor of Lagos State. He had to represent him at an event.
Yes.
A governor representing.
Oh, yes.
And a citizen, the then citizen, Bola Tinubu.
So I just mentioned it. He, according to him too, he sees beyond others. Like Mary said, if Lagos had been taken away when Obasanjo overran the southwest, there would have been problems. But you see, I learned from levels of that even when Obasanjo met Osoba and Babakade then, he warned them, look, I am not going to attend that kind of meeting with Obasanjo. That if you choose to attend, please go ahead. And that's why up to today, the master plan of Lagos, since he left office, is still being followed religiously. And I learned the particular governor will state the president, please, we are going to your development towards Lagos Central. Another governor in Lagos, look, for this your office, we are going Lagos East for development. And this one, okay, we are going to Lagos West. And today, development in Lagos was the master plan as Aswaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu left 2003. And you see the kind of the style that kingmaker is really a kingmaker, and he will make sure there's what we call GAC, Governorship Advisory Council.
Except that Lagos is yet to be a maker of a sort.
Well, it's part of the Nigeria.
In spite of
look at the island.
Yeah, there are still challenges of food and what have you.
He said, I sent away.
You can't solve such problems in 10-20 years. You can't.
No, I'm only trying to remind us that in spite of that,
when I was in Lagos, you can be kidnapped in the afternoon in Oshodi. Go to Oshodi now. Oshodi is like
kidnapping in Oshodi with the level of crowd in Oshodi.
Then, but now go to Oshodi now.
Okay, Delawoman. Yeah. One of the first policy declaration he made yesterday was this on subsidy. Yeah. And we have seen the effects, implication almost immediately. Yeah. Would you say that declaration was, if it were to be a good one, was it timely?
It's a good one. Maybe you say it. I mean, you see, from his electioneering campaign days, he had told us he was going to do away with subsidy. Everybody knew that. Maybe you say, you don't. That statement was supposed to be an innocuous statement. He has been saying it. But you see, Nigerians, it is we Nigerians. You see, when you blame leaders, you must also blame our economy. I mean, our budget. Still, we have budgetary provision for the next 1 month
till June.
Till June. So he was telling us subsidies will go, but he extemporaneously he said subsidy is gone. So that was a definitive statement. Maybe he shouldn't have added that one. Don't call it
now. Don't speak on the ground, please.
It is a question of somebody. You see, I know him to be a very bold person who will take bold decisions. This is one of them, and he will see. He has to sit down with the industry.
Dayo, without having the minister in charge of petroleum, special advisor, economic, at least known one, is speaking on economy, making such declarative statement. I remember Buhari once told us that he found it very convenient to control his cows than Nigerians. Have we not seen what Buhari?
Well, for me, that statement by the president should have been a sponge from his speech. It was too hasty. And aside that, the issue of economy, we won't expect that. As we just entered the newsroom, I read that he's just meeting the government director of NNPCPL, GMD, Melekiyari, and he was about meeting Godwin Emefiele, the CBN governor. I expect Mr. President to have done all that. Oh, before that kind of declaration, it was too declarative and too hasty. And you can see Nigerians doing what they have.
How much did you buy for this afternoon?
245. I was lucky.
You are not. Some people have bought over 300.
No, as at this afternoon, Abuja is 100 naira. In Jos, it's 700.
But do you blame the president alone? What we Nigerians?
I would say the president don't understand Nigerians.
Well, I wouldn't say so, but you see, it's a political declaration that he said he will hit the ground running from day one. So he tells you, why I agree with you that because of who we are as Nigerians.
The Nigerian in us.
Yes. Maybe he could have deferred it for about 1 month or so, because at least the what do you call this, our economic budget, our budget, okay. There is still provision for that for the next 1 month. So he should have been tactful, but this is the man I said is capable of taking the most difficult decisions. You see it. They will find a way out, but that Tinubu wants to use that to show to us that we are in for very, very difficult decisions, and I will take them. And that's why he said, don't pity me.
Okay, some 8 years ago, he was one of those who kick against this subsidy stuff. They called it then a scam, meaning that it does not exist. It was just a way of siphoning money. And I read through the Nigerians now, they brought it out to
remind him.
And in the open letter he wrote then, or statement, he gave conditions that Jonathan administration should ordinarily, or should have met. Do you see being in the outside power?
Yeah.
Be different from where you are here.
The prisms are very different. You look at things from a different prism. When you come there, you see the reality. And one of the realities is that for now he's alone. He and his officially, he and his wife are the only people. We don't know anybody.
Okay, because he's alone, we want to move to the next topic, because that topic also has to do with him alone.
Okay.
And he has said he doesn't deserve, he's not expecting our pity, that he will live up to expectation. And he said he promised us. So he said, don't pity me. Don't pity me at all. Some people have said because of the enormous tax before him, we should sympathize with him. But he said no, he knows, he was aware.
Don't forget, he told us it's been his long life ambition. And we expect that
being ambitious is different from.
No, but he also has a 80-page open document.
80 page.
80 page. So we expect him to. That's why he said, "Don't pity me." That if he's saying I'm prepared, and so if I fumble anywhere, hold me responsible. That's what he's telling us. He's telling us, "Don't pity me. Don't think I don't know what I'm doing. I'm already prepared." And so if the box on my table, and whenever I fumble, please hold me responsible. That's what he's telling us.
That he was well prepared, and that we should not pity him. That he know the task he has set for himself. Does it translate to getting results?
It's neither here nor there. You see, some people will tell you, "Oh, he shouldn't have made such statements." But they are different from Bola Tinubu. I've told you of his ability to shake the political table vigorously. No, to shake. No. We could be disappointed. I'm talking about him. Okay. I'm not saying he's not God, so he cannot. But I say he is capable of shaking the political table violently and vigorously. That is him. That's why he says, "Don't pity me." But a statement like that is not the best. It connotes some measure of arrogance, because you have just come. All your preparation were done outside. When you move into the kitchen, you see
the reality,
and the reality has started dawning on him. And for the next 1 week, it's going to be wahala. He might not even have chance to eat.
To solve this.
Yes.
This long queue.
So it is going to be difficult. So at the end of the day, he might regret and say, "I shouldn't have told them they shouldn't pity me," because The salvos will come.
Yeah, and well, good enough you have laid credence to his achievement as Lagos State Governor.
As governor.
Eh?
Lagos State Governor.
Yes, as Lagos State Governor. It's Lagos, Nigeria.
That's not. I would emphasize that.
It's Lagos, Nigeria.
But Lagos is also a difficult state.
I am a student of philosophy, so I want to be logical here. That you did well in Lagos, does it translate you do well in Abuja? Is it the time he administered Lagos, was it the same time we were administering the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Then the multi-ethnicity, you have to satisfy the Fulani. We have more than 250 ethnic groups in Nigeria.
There are two ways to this.
Okay.
One, if you look at the volatility of Lagos, and that successfully Lagos can still be what it is today, let's give kudos to him.
No, I'm not.
But somebody said something. Senator Sani said one thing, well, either right or wrong, that there's no doubting the fact that he has a lot of bobby troops ahead of him. The Naira designing, the subsidy removal,
yes.
Some appointments made, last minute appointment made, some very serious issues. I'm coming to debt provide.
Whatever.
Saying 77 trillion naira and all those approvals. Nigeria is not Lagos. Don't forget. There's this warning.
There's one in Lagos.
There is this warning and there is this advice. Unify the country. That Nigeria divided. We mean you must become unified. Like in the last 8 years, there's this issue of disunity among ethnic groups. So,
and I tell you, if he is able to unite the country, then he has succeeded.
Okay, but before then, I still want us to look at this Lagos and Nigeria. In Lagos, there are a lot of taxes there. I'm not saying multiple, even though the president himself admitted yesterday that there were multiple taxation. The kind of tax or taxes Lagosians will pay, I'm sure an Osogbo man will not pay it.
Because
not to talk of somebody in Sokoto or Zamfara. So, is Lagos Nigeria?
Lagos is not Nigeria, certainly. But Lagos is a microcosm of Nigeria. You have all the elements that constitute Nigeria in terms of the human population being in Lagos. And so the way Nigerians will react, you begin to see them in Lagos at the macro level. So to some extent, he has the experience to manage to some degree of appreciation multitude of varied multitude. So he has done it, and that was why he was the first person to start bringing into his cabinet people who were non-Lagosians. So he has practiced that and should be able to do that at the national level. But that doesn't mean it will make him succeed. It is only an experience he has had. You ask a very pertinent question. He was in Lagos 15 years ago. The situation on hand now in the country is not the same as it was in Lagos, as when he was the leader of Lagos. So many things have happened that the trajectory he might want to follow may not be the same. Because today, 16 years ago, the people in Lagos were not mad. Today, the Nigerian is mad because of bitterness. We are bitter because we have been pushed to the wall so much. So these variables, he has to be prepared for them. And so he can't draw a meaningful comparison. That I did it in Lagos, I can do it in. It can only be I can do it, not I will do it.
Yes, we also want to inform you that anytime from now, we will be joining our outside crew from the governor's office, where a number of permanent secretaries, about 29 of them, will be sworn in by the governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke. So now, as soon as the event is about starting, I'm afraid we have to cut this program and join them, just to let you know. But for now, in the newsroom continues. Thank you.
Let me quickly, therefore, congratulate the station, because we don't know when we would be yanked off. You have
we will know when we will be yanked off.
Yes, but we will not. You are the moderator. They will tell you. You and I wouldn't know. That we want to congratulate the station, the organization.
Maybe we talk about the appointments or some other time. I mean, in the newsroom, the newsroom entertains all manners of discussion.
There is a permanent secretary.
After so many years, we are having appointed permanent secretaries.
Yes.
It was looking into the newsroom. So let's leave that for now. Now, let's look at the statement Atiwaju made yesterday. Apart from when people started seeing the implication of this subsidy removal stuff, many Nigerians were elated. They were proud of the policy statements he made. And looking back 8 years ago, when Muhammadu Buhari also came on board, there was also this hope. Even if you recall Jonathan too, I had no shoes. People felt that yes, he knew what it takes to be a poor person, or he was coming from a poor background. But at the end of the day, most, or do I say some Nigerians got disappointed. Now, with this renewed hope, do you see the renewed hope being sustained, judging from the ecstasy, the excitement that usually heralds this kind of inauguration? With particular reference to Bola Ahmed.
There is this adage. You don't see an individual as being 100% perfect until you trust such a person with position or money. What? Not just said it. It's not always like that. When you outside for so many years, and you've had on some occasion when you are watching football, the
spectators.
We are the best players. You cannot. Why is that? He didn't put it like this, or he didn't do this. But ask him to go to the field. Leaders we criticize our leaders a lot. Maybe because we expect a lot from them. But no leader, either at the local government level, even at organization level, or at any level, will pass through a particular environment and will not make an impact. They may not be that which we want, or the extent which we want it, or maybe we did overrated them. What he has started, like I said, he just met Mele Kyari, the group managing director of NNPC. Maybe that will tell you, Mr. President, the extent we have gone. And so if I look at that statement he made yesterday, I would have made this statement. Maybe I would have
it will also need to learn.
Oh yes,
of course. He spoke of Naira design as part of his speech.
He must learn.
But then he's meeting Governor Emefiele now.
I remember Ralph Adegbeshola, when he was made the Minister of Interior, he said he knew nothing about the ministry. So you are the one that will be guiding me. So no matter, despite being a former governor for 8 years, so being a former governor, being a kingmaker is different from being the president of the Republic of Nigeria.
Ruling Nigeria, a landmass of the 7th largest landmass in Africa, is not 250 or more ethnic groups. How do you satisfy? Before now, in the old western region, Delta and Edo used to belong here. Today they are not, and they speak on their own. Even Ondo or Osun, there are differences. Human beings are the most insatiable. So you cannot just say what you did 15 years ago. No. It should serve as a stepping stone for you. Now come to the reality.
There was no internet then. No this this print, this fake news.
It should be done on them.
The reality on ground. So you have to be ready to listen and not to speak.
That's why he has told us we should not pity him. He knows why he's coming.
That's why I said some measure of arrogance. We must say that.
He said
I'm repeating it. That statement connotes a measure of arrogance. Because he doesn't know everything. The mountains and within his own empire, the people he surrounds himself with, there could be moles. So he has to be very careful so that he in future will not have to come back to say, I'm sorry I said those words.
Also, the kind of monitoring was doing in Lagos as governor, monitoring his project, I'm not sure he can do it now.
Age factor, he is no longer a small boy.
When he was as governor, he will monitor.
So even though he said we should not pity him, we know that we should pity him.
Yes, we should pity him. We should pity him.
Look at the number of higher institutions, the federal universities, colleges of education,
ministries,
federal polytechnics,
agencies of government,
so you have
departments.
to approve everything.
He must have said that to embolden us. I know what I'm doing. But it is a statement,
and I know where we are coming from.
A different language.
The problem of ASU there is still there. We are having those ones of the health workers. They have asked him. I think they were.
So we have to pity
them. They held their warning strike last week, and maybe
until he brings out this list of ministers and the. So I think I know he will do that as soon as the National Assembly is convoked. I know he will do that before the end of this next month, June. I know, but before then, and within that time frame, he has nobody to answer questions for him or to stand in. There's no minister. Yes, some people will be doing this job in the background, but they are not official. We don't know them. So we only
maybe we have the chief of staff and SGF.
Yes,
that's a big thing.
Yeah, a little bit. But for now, he and his vice are the only. Two people, Nigerians know.
And unofficial appointees.
Yes. They will be there. But Nigerians won't hold them responsible. No. Until you appoint them, they are not appointees. We can only speculate that who will be this, who will be that. But I know in the next 2, 3, 4 days, we should have his inner cabinet, very inner cabinet.
Chief of staff.
Okay, I will live up to expectation. I promise.
Yeah, not much.
Past leaders have equally given these kinds of words of assurance.
So it's a deja vu. We have seen it before.
So we want to see how his own will be different. Though we pray that he is successful. Yeah. Because I know the Bible says that he will find good about Jerusalem.
So we must. This is our Jerusalem.
I know. I have a Bible class teacher here, Bible study teacher, who assists me.
Nigerians are Jerusalem. And so we should pray for Jerusalem that will do well.
So we wish Nigeria well. Yeah. We wish Tinubu well. Yeah. And by extension, we wish Nigeria well. And we also wish ourselves well. But we will sympathize. We pity him.
Yes,
we pity him
because the load is.
We know it's not going to
coming after 8 years of battering.
And we have seen the first patch from this fuel something now. We move to the third and final topic. We want to look at the former president, the citizen Muhammadu Buhari.
Now citizen.
He has apologized to Nigerians for what he called the temporary pains and suffering some of his measures to revamp the economy caused us, because we are a part of it. And the Naira swap we also face Dio. Coming out to apologize. How do you see that? Let's
in the first instance, he called that, they call it minor pains.
Some pains.
Temporary pains.
Temporary pains.
Perhaps Mr. President, the former president will know that quite an appreciable number of people lost their life, especially when you talk of general design. And you have your money in the bank and you can't even access your money. And look at what the president just said. That it was a very hasty decision. Maybe we would have said it's an irresponsible decision. That within a very short period, you removed quite a big number of money. You printed it's like you removed trillions. And you printed about 500 billion, and it's called that the temporary pain. The apology too was coming behind, but maybe because he was still in office. Perhaps if I didn't interview in the office, he wouldn't have apologized that it caused us some pains. That design alone, terrible. And don't forget the issue of insecurity. Well, perhaps ability to curtail some, but if you say insecurity, still with us as we speak. Kidnapping still with us as we speak. And maybe, like I said, maybe we overrated him. That a general, a former head of state, a military person, and that in few days, it will be off. It will be off.
Yeah.
But that up till now, maybe as I told you last night, some villages were overrun. So it's not. I won't call it some pains.
Maybe it was specific here. Measures to revamp the economy caused them the economy. So I think the man is talking about economy here.
Yeah.
So,
Well, everything boils down to the economy. Even whatever it is.
even insecurity.
Yes, it boils down to economy. Because the man on the street, unemployment is still economy.
What do you mean?
Everything revolves around it one way or the other. And it is on record in our hearts that he failed woefully. But then,
but he said he left Nigeria better.
oh, well, that is his own
Judgment.
You see, we are not, because Obasanjo 8 years ago when the campaigns were going on, he told us something I have not forgotten. He said, yes, Buhari, he knowing him as a Fulani man, he would fight corruption, he would fight insecurity, but economy was not sure of it. Former President Obasanjo said it, and for 8 years the man has lived up to that expectation of.
And on economy, right? At least our loans were
7 trillion.
Yes.
Okay, and you tried.
No, I mean, you said you talked about Obasanjo.
No, I was telling us what the old man told us.
Okay,
told the country.
Okay. I thought
that he said out of the 3 prong, he said we should. He was not sure that
we'll be able to
handle economy, and he proved himself that. So he has no serious economic background. So he was a person.
No serious economic team.
No. Even if you had, they will only have. You must also have the interpretational value to be able to say, to be able to think through what they have brought you, and that is what may be different from the former and the present. He's an accountant, so he can read through certain things and understand. So he should be able to challenge. I would have loved to see a scenario in which the former president, will sit down and the affiliates of this world and will be bombarding him with theoretical. Yes, and there was nothing he would be able to do. He would just sit down and be watching. But this time around, he will be able to tell them, oh no, this is this is that. So that he says he is sorry, we just have to accept that. The fact that some people have died doesn't take away his apology. He say when you
no man is perfect.
Yes. He accepts that he has.
That I have my money in bank and
no.
I'm not going to borrow.
He didn't deliberately do it.
Yes.
He wanted a situation that will improve and will not. The politicians will not hijack.
Look at the statement of Tinubu made. Look at what the Nigerians turned it into.
So he can.
Some people said they were driven out of filling station. They had that fuel subsidy is removed.
That's the Nigerian factor. We are people. We must forgive him, whether we forgive him or not. If God forgives him, what would we say?
He himself said he made difficult choices in the overall good of the country.
That's what he thought. They were good ideas. Implementation became the albatross. The Naira swap, he knew the politics we were going to practice, and we had started practicing towards 2023 was going to be money-based. So he wanted something that would just lift the country, but implementing it became
we can still not entirely tell the world that it's not his fault. Where Bauti Fashola, the former minister of Works and said something, and when he was making comparison of Asiwaju and Buhari, said Asiwaju will give you an assignment. He follows it up. He will make sure that commissioner executes that project. But that a Buhari
will sit, compare them with
kind
coaches.
Of confidence. Look, I've given the assignment. He will do it without follow up. When he was making comparison, I think that's what we
That's the old man. After you don't become left-handed at old age. I'm not saying it's
Tinubu is not a youth.
Wait, listen to me. I said
doesn't belong to
the
our group.
Tinubu man has been doing that even in his youthful days. This man, that is his own style. We are not saying it's a good style.
Consider it as weakness.
Well, whatever it is.
No, judging from his background, where you just give a directive, subordinate is bound to comply.
Yes.
So, but Tinubu knew that a politician, you have to
monitor whatever you dish out.
Well, from whichever one looks at it, though you have said you are not so pleased with the performance of of Buhari administration,
the economy.
But he himself said he has made Nigeria better.
Oh, yeah.
Are you saying there are?
No. I won't. No. That would be irresponsible of me. You cannot be there for 8 years and not have some impact, positive impact. He built the Niger Bridge, the second Niger Bridge, which has been named after him. That was a fantastic for the.
But in developed world, building or constructing a bridge, is that an achievement?
Are we a developing nation? In a developed world, governors don't say we pay salaries.
But here, as achievement,
are we not aspiring to be one?
Oh, your aspiration has been backdated by poor successive governance. This is how I will put it. If you consider, if a governor can stand out and say, you have been paying salaries, is that an achievement?
And announcing it on radio every month.
But they do it, and people,
this for pensioners. People
in our they will clap and say, yes, she wants some salary. Is that an achievement?
No.
So we are not the same as the developed world. We are a developing nation. So don't compare. The only unfortunate thing is that we have had these developed nations who have colonized us, and we have seen the way they went about things to get there, but we have not followed. That's the bad aspect of it. But whether you like it or not, bridges. And look at how many hours did people spend on that bridge going to do their businesses. If you spend 6 hours and today you spend only 1 hour, you have gained 5 hours.
You don't even need to spend 1 hour.
Yes, I'm just. You have gained that. Today,
particularly during festive period.
Yeah, today,
no people sleep on that bridge.
The Lagos Ibadan Expressway. Apart from the bottlenecks in Lagos, when you get onto the highway, it is smooth. So, in January, I went to Lagos, and it took me 1 hour 10 minutes to move from toll gate to Ibadan proper. I won't say toll gate to toll gate. From toll gate in Lagos to Ibadan. So that is okay. He's still building some road. In terms of infrastructure, he made efforts. But for irresponsibility of some of us Nigerians who become criminals, Lagos, what is it? Abuja, Kaduna Railway, fantastic.
And in view of the debt.
Yeah, no, you have to borrow to build infrastructure.
Don't you have limit if you want to borrow?
Yeah.
When you are spending about 98% of your revenue
to service. To service.
Very unfortunate.
They have to go into renegotiation. That's not acceptable.
If someone was calling for debt forgiveness, and I was saying,
they forgive you a debt how many years ago? Not quite 15 years ago.
I don't see the possibility.
And you want another one now? Are you alone? Is Nigeria the only?
Most of those ones borrow from China.
It's Nigeria.
IMF different, World Bank fine, but from China, debt forgiveness will be a tall order.
Well, we hope to join our outside broadcasting crew anytime from now for the live transmission of the swearing-in of new set of permanent secretaries in the Osun State Public Service by Governor Ademola Adeleke. The event will be holding at Local Government Service Commission Hall. So as soon as the program kickstarts, we will be joining, and you have the opportunity to see clearly and directly events as they unfold at that venue. Now, before we leave, Yalamuma, your final take. Apology accepted, you have said so.
Oh, apology accepted. I will come home from this, the list of permanent secretaries. We will appreciate what the governor has done, but on a personal note, I think there are the 17 that he didn't consider. He has his facts, but I think it tends to connote some measure of political vendetta.
This is we are not treating that.
No, I should say it. I mean, we commend the governor.
No, those that were appointed initially, that Hagison did not tell us the criteria which they used in picking them. So we not have also known the criteria.
Yeah, that's what I said. The facts are not. I mean, I don't have the facts.
Since we don't have the facts, we should not comment on it. And those who but I'm aware that there was a time a panel was set up to review most of the actions taken the twilight of the acquisition of Fadegwega Oyetola. And I am also aware that several petitions were written, but we are not talking about that.
We can't even blame the governor because this is a project that the Aregbesola administration started. You wrote exams and government. No, I'm talking about government.
Yes, that is the beauty.
Government now.
At least we are having permanent secretaries now. And I'm also aware that some of them will retire next year. So those that were dropped will be lucky to make the list. To make it next time.
The next time.
Your final take.
We thank God for the governor.
The apology of the former president, to the glory of God. Even if we don't accept his apology, he has left the office.
And there's nothing we can do.
What do we do?
No, but
history will remember him.
That is not removed from our students.
No. It doesn't. Even if it is removed from it, history remains history. People will write. But you see, don't let us crucify. Don't let us crucify him. He came at a point in time.
We don't even have a choice. We have accepted. The apologies are accepted.
That is how far we
meant
able
well.
to go
He
on
couldn't do
today's
it the way he
edition of this
wanted.
program in the newsroom. We hope we have been able to add color to your day. Please join us tomorrow, same time between 3:30 and 4:30 for another edition of this program in the newsroom. Smollett, I did to Chichalama, thank you on behalf of our viewers.
Yeah,
for your time and contribution.
Thank you.
Your friend and partner, the Papa 70, could not make it to the newsroom today.
Because he's traveled.
He traveled. We wish him Johnny Mercy back home.
Amio.
Aso. And the man behind the scene who ordinarily should not be on set today, but who because of the inability of some other members of the team today to be here, who was dragged here on the instruction or the fiat of the DSC.
Don't forget my third person phone to tell you
yes.
Fuel challenge.
Yes. Larry Patterson also called that he has fuel challenge. Thanks for reminding us. So we also thank you, Dayo, for your time. So we hope to see some other time. My name is Abiodun Larry. Bye bye.